Hi friends, it's Jenny and I am back today with another one of my bracelet trios. I've done that a couple of times before and I have been, since I opened the Didi's Deluxe Bead box for July, I have been wanting to make a bracelet trio. And I've had several ideas, kind of go back and forth. I really love the antique bronze findings that are in the box and identified several that I can use with my metal allergies. But one of the defining characteristics of my bracelet trio is that I have to have 3 clasps that match so that we can continue to use the trio as a convertible piece of jewelry. And I don't have antique bronze clasps. So for a while I was thinking, okay, well maybe I'm actually going to be brave and get into the whole mixed metal things. But one thing you guys need to know is that until probably around March this year, I was very much only a silver jewelry girl. So just branching out to other metal tones in general has been a bit of a thing for me. And I also really like symmetry. So right now, I might not be brave enough for mixed metals. In fact, I was all ready to record this in the middle of the week with mixed metals, and I just was not feeling it. I was like, okay, well, yeah, I don't want to just substitute the bits and pieces that, oh, well, I don't have that antique bronze, so it's just going to be gold, and then it's going to stand out. And then I'm like, okay, let's make it intentional. And it's just, I kind of went through this whole thing, and I thought about it, and I thought about it. And last night I decided that I am just going to switch the metal tone. So I'm going to be doing gold with this bracelet trio. I have these little gold magnetic clasps. I'm going to set the other 2 aside, but I do have 3 sets right here. They have, they don't have posts, but they do have indentations so that when they're attached, they're difficult to dislodge unless you're actually opening it like this rather than pulling like this. So they're pretty good. They are nickel free, and so I like to use those, but I thought those would be really good ones with just kind of a gold disc so that when you are wearing the bracelets in a different configuration, it will just look like, you know, a nice gold coin bead. So that's the idea. I am going to, for my main bracelet, I like to do my trios where each bracelet is very pretty on its own, but one of them is typically going to be more ornate or larger scale. And that's the one that is designed in the convertible aspect of this to be worn as like the focal area on a necklace. And I just love this bead strand that came with this box, and all these check beads in here are just so beautiful. So I'm gonna make this last, and when I do, I'm just gonna snip this, pull out the findings, maybe these smaller red beads. I want to make sure I have room for what I want to do with this, but we're going to do that. As far as other tools and supplies that I'm using, I am using, all of the beads that I'm using today are from the Didi's Deluxe Bead, the Didi's Deluxe Bead Box 2025, July 2025 edition, the Fiery Azure theme. I am using Soft Flex beading wire in the Tanzanite color for my blue. And this is spinel. It's one of the older ones, so it's not labeled across here, but it's basically spinel. And it's this kind of reddish tone that is a kind of like it just matches really well. It's a good red for this. So I'm going to use those 2 colors of beading wires. I'm going to use my Casual Comfort plier set for attaching the clasps and making some loops. So I'll show you that in just a moment. I'm going to be using some flesh cutters, and to finish my class, I'll be using the magical crimper along with some Soft Flex gold crimp tubes. So those are the supplies and tools I plan on using. Oh, I am using these 24 gauge pins in gold from my stash as well. But all the beads, the actual beads, are going to be from this box. And I'm really excited about that because there's such great choices in this. I didn't have to look for anything to round it out or to fill it up. Like, I can totally just make this trio with what's in here, and it's exciting and fun. So I'm going to set this guy aside, and we're going to pull down. I want to start with the blue one. And what I'm doing for the blue one is I'm using this lovely aquamarine stone. And I'm just going to, it's going to be fairly simple. I want the blue one to be all the soothing colors of the blue that she gave us, but with pops of something a little fiery. So I put this fiery mix on gold pins, and I'm going to show you how I did this in just a minute. I decided that I need, for the length that I'm making, I need about 20 of these. You may need more, you may need less. I may decide that I need more. I don't know. I have the supplies. I can make more during this tutorial if I need to. But this is mostly what I'm using. And to make this component, I'm just taking one of these little 24 gauge ball pins, dropping my crystal drop fat side down on the bottom of that. And then because this is a lot of spool right here, and I'm not wrapping this loop, I'm going to roll this loop. I only need about 2 fingers from the bottom of that pin as far as space to get a good 2.5 to 3 rolls. So I'll show you how I'm doing that. So we're gonna go ahead and snip this. And I first saw this, I wanna say I saw it demonstrated on one of the Beading Besties. I think it was Gina Rader from Sparkly's. Did that on Beading Besties with Heather Aston, and Heather Aston uses it, and I saw it more recently also with Gina Moody from GGC Collections, that I've seen them do this. So rather than doing a wrapped loop with a soft metal pin like this, especially since it's going to be used for a dangle, there's not really going to be any weight borne on this. I am going to do a rolled loop. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tip of that wire at the very end of these guys, because I just want a really small loop. And then I'm just going to start rolling it toward me. And I keep it against my finger like this, just to kind of help keep everything straight and smooth and balanced. And I'm just very gently opening and closing these pliers. And see, there's a little bit of a gap there. No problem. We're going to tighten that up. We're going to squish that together once we finish doing this. And we're just going to keep rolling until we've rolled all the way down to the bead. And see, that was almost exactly 3 loops. It doesn't have to be exactly. Some of mine are closer to 2.5. And because of the way I'm stringing these, I'm not too worried about pokey ends, because they're going to be between beads that are a larger diameter than this. Now this does 2 things for us. 1, it gives us a drop, and 2, it gives us a gold toned spacer. So when we actually do this together, I'm not adding spacers from my stash to add in the gold tone. I'm just using it from these pins that I used to do that. So I'm going to get out some of this wire, and I am going to keep it on the spool while I string it, so that if I need to adjust for length, because I haven't actually put it together, I have a basic idea of how much I'm using and how much I'm doing, but it might need adjustment. So I don't want to cut the length and then feel like I have to change it or have to use bead stops. So I'm just keeping it on the spool while I string it. And I'm just starting it. So this is going to be what's closest to the clasp. So there's going to be there is going to be a gold bead on the other side of this from doing the crimp tube, because it turns it into a nice smooth ball. And so I've got that. And then I'm doing a crystal. And then here's where I'm going to start adding in these guys. So I want to mix them up so that I keep the mix. I don't want to be very precise in what color I grab. I'm basically doing this on either side of each of the, I mean, it ends up being, because I'm alternating the beads basically between each of the crystal and the aquamarine. Just putting them in, and I haven't really been paying attention to direction. I probably should, because there's this method of rolling does mean that you don't have to pay attention to front side or back side. I just want it to be consistent front or back of the necklace. So like this side, you can see the line, because it is really hard to do a centered loop with wire that's soft and how much we're rolling it. I did try, and I'm like, yeah, that's a battle I don't want to fight. So I'm just making sure that the line is towards me so that it's consistent between them. And then whichever way you wear the bracelet, it doesn't actually matter. And they'll flip back and forth on the bracelet. Like when you're wearing it, they're not all going to hang down. That's just me being precise. because that's one of the things that I do. So this is just to give you an idea. This is essentially what we're doing. So it's pretty simple, and you can see how that the rolled, I'm going to zoom in real quick so you are looking at that. You can see how that rolled gold wire makes a little bit of a kind of organic looking spacer. So it's not super precise. Some of them like this, when I did my little squish at the end to make sure that everything was together, it like, you know, kind of knocked them so that they're not exact. And I don't mind, I actually like that because it makes this less uniform, and it's gonna give it, I don't know, a little bit of texture and feel. So I'm just stringing this. This won't take long for this one. And I am stringing about, because I'm going to be making links and using jump rings to attach my magnetic clasp. I'm gonna get it about to 6.5 inches. And my mat here, oh, let's zoom back out. My mat here is in centimeters, and I'm trying to remember what my length was in centimeters. Do I have another one of my bracelets nearby that I can measure real quick? I don't think I do. I think I've moved them elsewhere. Oh, no, I do. I do. Something where I know how it fits. So I can check what I want my beaded length to be. So, yeah, about that. So I want my beaded length to be about, I need it to be a total of 18 centimeters plus the jump ring. So I'm looking at about 16 centimeters beaded length, which would be 6.5 inches if I was using my other mat, but I'm not. Actually, I need to see if I can get some of these with the inch measurements, because that's what I refer to most. So that's what I would prefer to have. You know what? I was trying to do it a certain way and then I stopped paying attention. So you know what? That's okay. Actually, that was, I did actually, I was doing it naturally. Not that, like I said, it matters. That's just me being me. But like I said, I have plenty of the fiery mix left, plenty of these pins. So if I need to make a couple of more, I can to get the length that I want. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Oops, I forgot one of my dangles. Let's get one of them on there. Like I said, I wanted it to be the soothing blue tones primarily, with just that little bit, that pop of fiery. So you could wear this bracelet on its own and it has interest. It's not just a bunch of blue stones together. Did it again. I hope I didn't completely underestimate how much of this I needed. I might make a few more of those if I need them. And I have thought about going ahead and putting one here between these. Because at first I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to start with the stone, and then they're going to be on either side of the aquamarines. But then it kind of leaves this awkward thing at the end. But again, that's going to be near the clasps. So maybe if I need to extend this, I just do like aquamarines together near the end of it. So the dangles are just across most of it. But I don't know. That's the part of this design. I don't design precisely like exactly what I need. Part of that is like seeing what the beads want to do when I'm putting it together and being inspired by them. and figuring out things like, okay, how do I make this work for the length that I want? Let me see, I want one of these lighter ones. Let's see, I'm just gonna zoom in. See what I mean about how that gold just does the perfect amount of little separation in there without actually having to add in spacer beads to accomplish that. I'm really happy with that. Really happy with that. Getting some visual interest and texture from the rolled loop. Okay, so this is as far as my rough estimate was going to take me if I was going to complete it as expected. We're looking at, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. That is only 14 centimeters. So I think I am gonna do that. I'm gonna go ahead and get a few more aquamarine out of the box. I've got my box in a box. Just scoop out a few more of those guys. And rather than make more dangles and extend the whole thing all the way around, I think I am going to kind of smooth this out at the near the closure. So this will be a little bit more intentional. Yes, so when I add 2 more aquamarine on this other side to mirror what I've done here, then this bracelet will be probably perfect. Leave me about an inch or so to clasp. And I do like my bracelet to fit loosely. So if I need to adjust that, I can always add another jump ring, but I like the symmetry of having the 3 aquamarine at the ends. And when you wear it, it's gonna be doing this thing where these dangles are gonna go every which way, which is totally fine. That's part of the fun of having dangles on a bracelet, right? So in case you have not seen a magical crimper in use, I'm gonna go ahead and go over it on this first one. I am gonna be doing 6 crimps during this video, so I'm only gonna explain in detail once, but I will do all of the crimps on screen so that you can still watch later. What you're gonna wanna do is put on a crimp tube. These are Softflex crimp tubes. This only works with the 2x2 crimp tube and 0.018 to 0.019 diameter wire. This Softflex is 0.019, so it's perfect for using these. Now, the brand of crimp tube isn't necessarily important, but the quality is. So you do want to look for something that has a decent wall like this one. Otherwise, your crimp tube might just crumble inside the pliers and not actually make the ball of crimp you want it to make. So I'm just feeding the wire back through the tube so that I can make my loop. Getting that adjusted to where I want it. And then I'm taking the magical crimper, and there's this concavity, this spherical opening inside. And you just want to center your tube, the crimp tube, inside that. Once you've got it centered, you're gonna give it a little squish. And you'll see that it has pinched down the 4 corners of this, making a cute little gold ravioli. So you're just gonna take that and put it straight up and down, centered again in your crimp tube, so 90 degrees from where you just were, and give it another good squish. You don't have to squish hard, just, you know, squish it until it all meets up. And then from there, you just kind of rotate around, keeping it centered. I am opening my pliers, but only a little bit because it's easier to keep it centered if I'm not pulling it away each time. Until you don't feel any resistance anymore. And that's when you've got this smooth little ball of crimp. I'm gonna see if these aquamarine holes are big enough to eat that wire if I need to trim it. I might need to trim it. Nope, they're big enough to eat the wire. Yay! Snack time for the aquamarine rounds. Okay, so now on this end, I'm gonna need enough room for 2 of these guys, and then enough room to do a crimp. And I usually take about 2.5 inches to do that. You don't technically need that much to make the loop and crimp it, but it's a lot easier to work with if you have that tail to pull. So I'm gonna snip these here. Just do a little flush cut right there and get my 2 aquamarine that I decided to add on there. And I am curious about the length, so I'm just double checking it before I do that final crimp. This is how much room I've got. And like I said, I've got that the gold magnet clasp, as well as some jump rings to attach it. I think that's gonna be just about perfect once I've added the loop on this side. So on this side, okay, so I'm not gonna show you the details of how to do the crimp. I'm gonna show you how to do the second crimp, because that is gonna be a little bit different because you are gonna be right up against beads. So once you've got your crimp on there, you can feed it through a few beads if you want to, but make sure you've got enough tail to grab so that you can adjust your loop. See, I'm pulling it out here between. Get your loop about the size that you need. Coil your bracelet a little bit so that you don't have a stiff bracelet. Nobody likes a stiff bracelet. Well, maybe some people do. I'm sorry if you like a stiff bracelet and that was derogatory or incorrect for your experience. This is where I'm fiddling it, just getting the size down. And then you're gonna wanna take your nail and wiggle a little space in between your bead that's closest to the crimp tube and the tube itself so that you have room for where your plier goes. This is especially important when you're dealing with crystal beads or small glass seed beads that are easy to crunch. You might crunch your bead in the crimper, and that's really not that fun of a thing. So I think that's fairly uniform. I'm gonna go ahead and get in here. Again, I'm gonna center it and then confirm that. Just make sure that you've got the clearance, and then crimp as normal. And it really does take just a few more crimps. You know, you do it until it feels right. And then that has now been finished. And so now I'm just going to snip off this excess wire. And let's get some jump rings. I'm going to go with, actually I'm going to go with some of these that my sister made me. I don't have as many gold jump rings as I do other colors. There's just not that many available in the metal tone or the size that I needed. But my sister made me from Soft Flex craft wire, which is nickel free, several jump rings a while ago in a variety of sizes. And so I wanted to see if she had ones that were the size that I wanted to use for this. I'm going to do these smaller ones and check the fit. I might swap them out for the next size up if the fit is not quite what I want, because these are for me to wear. So I'm making them for me. So just want to take that and swing it open. When I was first trying to learn how to do this when I was a teenager, and I subsequently gave up, I pulled, like I said, open the jump ring. So I just pulled it like to the side and just spread it wide and ruined it because it doesn't hold its shape. Instead, you want to swing it like you're opening a door. Keep it on its hinge. Don't yank the door off. And then when using the magnetic clasps, I find it helpful to keep them attached to each other, so that they're still going to be attracted to my pliers, but it won't be nearly as bad as if there was an unengaged magnet trying to do its thing, because the magnet wants to do its thing. Whoa, that had a sharp point. Let me make sure. When I went and did that, it popped up a sharp point. I don't know what that just did. I'm going to use a different jump ring because there's something, a little bit of burr or something on that that was going to make it scratchy. There we go. Except did you notice what I forgot to do? I forgot to actually attach the magnet that time because I got distracted by the burr on the first one. Okay. And that means I need one more that was like, no, those were the small ones. There were 3 sizes that I had out. Oh no, that is the same size as that. Okay, never mind. Oh, that's right. I was starting with the small ones and I was going to step up to the medium ones if I needed to. That's what I'm doing. Set that one aside. So this should complete bracelet number 2. I'm going to give it a try, and I'm just going to wear it while we make the next bracelet. How does that sound? So this is the Azure side of our Fiery Azure. That is a little bit more snug. I'm going to switch it to the larger jump rings, because I prefer my bracelet, and I know everybody is different. I prefer my bracelet to be able to rotate freely on the wrist. I don't mind if it slides, moves up and down my wrist. I don't want it so loose that it's going to just roll off my wrist, but I don't like to wear a bracelet really snug. So I'm actually going to jump up. Instead of just jumping up to the middle size, I'm going to go up to these bigger dudes. Unless it just looks weird. I'm going to try it. Just like I auditioned beads on my strand, I auditioned jump rings on my bracelet. I don't think that, I mean, I think that actually is really good because it like mirrors the size of that coin, so it makes it just look like a kind of a fat link. I like that actually. I don't normally have this much trouble with jump rings. Do you ever feel like when you're on camera and you're recording that, or when someone is watching, that's when you can't seem to manage your normal tools? It's also a hot day and this metal is like not holding its shape very well, and it usually does. It usually does. So all right, that is a little bit better, but I might adjust that fit again later because I don't know if maybe it's because it's kind of hot, maybe it's sticking to my skin more than it normally would, but I usually like to have it, you know, be able to slide, and I'm not loving that fit. So the other ones I'll probably make to fit a little bit more how I want. I don't have a bracelet mandrel. I need to get one. I just don't have one yet. So some of it's guesswork. A big part of that is not necessarily trying to figure out how much space it's going to take on my wrist, as it is estimating how much space I'm going to need to do the closure. I think that is pretty close to the inch that I was talking about, but for some reason that didn't equate to the same thing. So I don't know. I am still learning, and that is one of the things that I'm still learning. So let me get these beads out of the way, and we're gonna switch to our coral and check glass flower bracelet with, instead of the fiery mix on little dangles, I put these little blue gold half electroplated. These were the ones that were substituted in on the when the, I think it was orange pear-shaped, burnt orange pear-shaped crystals, when those were not available. These guys got substituted in, and I really love them. So I am not mad at all about that substitution. And just like with the drop, I am gonna go ahead and make one more of these on camera with you. And although it takes up a different amount of visual space because it's a sphere instead of a drop, it is actually very similar height. So I'm gonna be snipping this off basically the same place I was doing for the other crystal drops. Just snipping that off so it's a little bit less to work with. I used other tools, so there's my round nose. And I'm just doing the exact same thing. Pinching the end of that wire near the tip of my pliers and just rolling it. Just rolling it. And see, that ended up being exactly 3. Give it a little bit of a squish and add it to these guys here. So let me switch my beading wire as well. Oh, I did say that I would wear this necklace or this bracelet while we're doing it. I'm gonna see, even though the fit isn't ideal, like what I normally go for, I'm gonna see if I get used to it. Decide if I want to adjust it. What I'll probably do is do a series of smaller jump rings, so it'll be like 3 linked together to give me what I want. So that's probably what I'll end up doing, but I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty and it's fun. It's soothing colors, but has that, you know, kind of riot of activity going on with these other guys. I like that. All right. And this one, very much the same. I'm going to keep it on the spool. We're going to try to get it the length that I want it to be. And this time, I am starting with one of these, and these are irregular shaped coral. I did choose ones that were, let me swap that one out. I did choose ones that were the bolder red color. There are some that are more like pink, because these are natural. So some of them were a little bit more pink. So I chose ones that were not exactly uniform in color, but not as big of a difference, because I did want to lean heavily into the red here. And these are even the check glass is, where did it go? Yes, red, coral red. They're meant to be coral red. So they lean more red than orange as well. And so I wanted to kind of lean into that color. So again, it's fairly uniform in color like the blue, but instead of adding pops of red, we're adding pops of this blue gold to kind of help cool it down and break it up. So for this one, and I might get out some gold spacers for extending the length of this if I feel like I need to extend the length of it, or I might put some of these on either end. You know what? Let's try that actually. I'm gonna go ahead, because I've got some right here. I'm gonna go ahead and just start by putting some of these on the end. Just to start that with that way. And then we'll do a coral, one of our drops, and then a flower, and a drop, and then a coral, and then a drop, flower. I'm getting enough on here to get it up and look at it and see if I like it or if I need to adjust my plan. Because you are always allowed to change your mind. If you start putting something together and you don't love it, that's okay. Try it another way, experiment, play. I often say on my channel that, you know, I want to play with beads, and I always close by reminding you, don't forget to play. And there's a reason for that. I like this. I like this a lot, actually. Look at how cute this is. Look at how cute that is. Ah, and using the gold really plays off of the gold wash on these flowers really nicely. Pull that up even closer to the camera. Yeah, I'm happy that my idea for this bracelet is actually looking even better than I expect it to. I mean, I had a general idea, but once you start putting it together, that's when the real magic starts to happen. And I think that's a pretty cool thing. Pretty cool thing. But you kind of see where I'm going with these two together. You could totally wear this as a duo. But we're not done. Are we, friends? We are not done. Oh, there it is. I'm missing a flower. My count was off between my coral and my flowers, and I couldn't figure out why. It's because my flower had gotten up to go play with the fiery mix. That's what happened. It's like, hey, I made friends over here. Can I play over here? Not yet. Not yet. Because I have ideas about the next bracelet and how we might want that to go. All right, and then put this on. And then to be even with the other side, 3 of these blue gold electroplated glass beads. Check that length. See, that feels like it's going to be too long. What did I do? What did I do, friends? Better too long than too short? No, not for a bracelet, because you can always add jump rings. Okay, so I'm going to reduce these on the ends. I am going to reduce these on the ends because I do want it to fit with the, you know, I'm going to turn this so we can see where the clasp is. Haha. See, I can turn it. It's just, it's stiff. It doesn't move freely. That's my one complaint about the size on that. And I made it so I'm complaining to myself. I'd like to talk to the manager. I want this to fit here. Just holding too many things at once. See, I think that's too much because even if we don't use big jump rings, no, actually, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with this one. I want this to, and I'll adjust the other one to fit better. Because I want, with the trio, they really need to be able to kind of jostle and move together. And if they get twisted together, then we need to make sure that's not a problem. And so I would actually rather have this fit just a touch too loose. I don't think it's going to be loose enough to come off my wrist. That's the important part. So just going to get this guy crimped. And see, you don't see a whole lot of this wire, but when you do, I want it to feel like it's a part of the design. So we've got the blue here and we've got the red here. And also if we have a more translucent stone, then it, you know, the nice color shows through, or at least it's not an ugly color. All right. Does that not feel centered? There. Okay. Let's see if these guys will eat that wire. I'm not going to try to put it through the coral twice, but no. So this one, those beads won't eat the wire. So, and you can do this because this is a nice sturdy crimp. You can cut the unused portion of wire right up against the crimp, and it's fine. That does not matter. That crimp will still hold. All right, I'm not making any changes to this other side. I am just going ahead and cutting enough to make my crimp. Pouring out some more crimps because I only poured out 3 earlier. But like I said, we need 6. So here's plenty more crimps. And sorry, I got all quiet because I was concentrating on crimping. I was concentrating on crimping. That's okay. You guys were watching what I was doing. It's all right. Okay. I'm using some different jump rings this time. We've got the end of the bracelet and the clasp. I'm having the hardest time hanging on to this. Part of it is that it's so small. It's also hot. Like I said, my metal seems like it's acting weird today. Like, why you gotta be so weird? Okay, so this is our fiery bracelet with the little pops of cooling it down with that blue gold. Oh, I need to rotate this back around. It's easier for me to take it off and put it back on because it doesn't slide as easy. See, they're already trying to attach to each other. They just want to be friends. So here we go. Let's let them be friends. There we go. So that's bracelets 1 and 2. And they make a very lovely duo if you just want to wear these together. They definitely work. But let's make our third bracelet. Who's ready for number 3? I'm ready for number 3. And I think I'm going to do number 3. I debated between doing it on the blue wire or the red wire. And I'm kind of leaning towards the red wire. So let's do that. But we're just going to get this guy out, and I'm just going to snip the end of it because I also like the order that she's got these check glass beads. These are not going to snip anything. Get the right tool for the job. All right, so got them here, and I'm just going to pull a little fire polish on either side of these. All right, so what I'm thinking of using for this, and this is definitely on the experimental side. Oh, it's double looped through. This was the stop bead. I'm having a, you know what? I'm not using that bead, so it's okay. I don't need to take that. Okay, so I'm definitely using the flowers. All the flowers. I'm using these little yarn ball beads. I think that's what they call them. Let me pull the metals out of the way. And I do think that I'm going to be adding some red. I do think that we're going to need a touch of red, but I don't know that we're going to need all of that red. Maybe these guys, because they kind of mimic. And I can always grab some of the aquamarine and the coral that I didn't use on bracelets 1 and 2. Let me scoot that down so you can actually see what I was doing. Moving it up on my screen where you couldn't see it anymore. I think these are the ones I'm going to use. I may not use these ones because what I want to do is I want to use these guys and these guys as spacers. I'm not going to add metal to this bracelet. I'm not going to have metal be part of the components on this. I want this to just be a riot of fun color. So I'm going to be using a combination of these guys to string this and make a bracelet. Now I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. I am still going to do this on the spool, but rather than string from one end to the other and then have to figure out, okay, how much of this do I need to adjust? I'm actually just going to string from the middle and figure out where my halfway point is, and then use that to string the other side. So I know that I want to start with my rose in the middle, this pretty rose, and I think that she needs to be bracketed by these little guys. Whoops. And then I want some of my fiery friends. Let's do it this way. And then we've got the yarn ball bead. As Becky says, these look like brains. One of several bead shapes that looks like brains to her. That's okay. That's okay. And then we're gonna have this, the blue flower with a, looks like a travertine finish on it. See, so I'm using these to kind of space out these special check glass guys. But again, I'm needing to make sure that I am hitting my halfway mark. And I'm not there yet. I feel like I'm on a good track though, so. And I'm not being picky about which of these fiery mix that I'm picking up to act as these spacers, just like I wasn't picky when I was stringing them all together. So like, these are the first few beads. And this bead almost looks, against that red, it almost looks more green because it's got the blue and gold kind of combined in it. I almost chose a green wire for doing the blue strand for that very reason. Let's try this. I like that, or, because I don't know if I want to use that or if I want to use one of these faceted rondelles. There, I might do a faceted rondelle instead for the scale. Yeah, I like that better. I like that better because I am using the smaller beads to separate out. I like the scale of that one better. So swapping that. And putting another one of these guys on either side of it. And then it's also kind of that kind of blue-green color before, sorry, move that off to the side so it's not making as much noise. Zooming in. And I do this so that you can see better, but also so that I can see it on camera a little bit and see how that plays. Look at all the light catching on those facets. The facets and the finish. This is fun. This is fun. All right, I need to see how I am doing for length. Halfway through that bead, so this is about 16, it will be when doubled, about 16, which is what I thought that I needed when I was doing this other guy. Let me just compare. Yeah, I went 16 beaded length on this one, and this is the one that I felt like it doesn't fit me as well. Oh, let me back that back off. This is one that I felt like doesn't fit me as well. So I do want to go a little bit longer, and I might do that just by adding a couple more of these beads. See, and so then, oh, because you got to see them all stacked together, right? So the idea then is that this would be this really pretty combination of these two bracelets, that they would all just kind of stack together and be this fun thing. So that is what I'm going for. Sorry, there's a little slack because of course it's not crimped, but that is kind of what I'm going for. So I think if that is closer to the length that I need, yeah, I think that's closer to the length that I need. I am gonna go ahead and crimp this side, and then I'll work on the other side. I will double check that length again. If I need to restring it, I will only have one side crimped, and I can easily do so without changing any of my materials. I won't lose anything there. So I don't think that I'll need to change anything, but I will double check it. And yeah, I think a lot of this is just the heat, and my skin is a little bit sweaty, but you know what? You want to be able to wear the bracelets regardless of what temperature it is, right? So it's better to make it fit the way you want it. Had to take a quick drink of the glass beside me just to make sure that I stay hydrated while I'm doing this. With how much, just the heat and humidity in my house now, which I don't normally have to deal with. We're very blessed. We have a good air conditioner, but you know, it's hot enough that we're filling it inside. I don't know how the women who don't have air conditioners in their beading space do it, or the people, I should say. I don't know how they do it, because I certainly could not. I certainly could not. Okay, so this is half of my bracelet. That is half of my bracelet, and it's just taking that and doing something a little bit fun and different. It's very playful, very playful. All right, And then now I want to make sure that since I only have half of it strung, I'm making sure I'm getting enough wire to finish stringing it, loop it, and crimp it. And if I have a little wire left at the end of it, that's fine. I often use those if I'm testing ideas or I want to see if multiple strands will fit through a bead. Then I use that as a way to, I use my spare wire to do those things, to check those things. You can also use spare wire, scraps of spare wire. If you're using a finer gauge beading wire and want to use the magical crimper, you can stick a little bit of spare wire into the crimp tube to give your ravioli a little bit more meat, and then you'll be able to crimp it, because if you use a smaller diameter wire without the extra meat inside, the crimp bead just won't form and hold like it needs to. So you can use it to add it, and then once you've finished crimping, then you just snip both ends of that extra wire that you used off, just like I did on this side. You just snip it. It's easy. So there's a lot of uses for spare bits of wire, so I don't mind having them. All right, and this, I believe, is my bracelet complete. And I'm double checking that length. I think that this is what I want. I'm gonna hold it here as well so that I can see it when it's stacked with everything else, because you know, you have to have room on your wrist for it. Yes, yes, once I add that clasp and the other loop, it's gonna be a little bit looser fitting than either of the other two. So I've got about this much space left, and this is pulling it snug. I have about that much space left, and I want it to fit looser because it's the one with the larger beads, so it kind of needs to half sit on top of its friends when you're just really stacking. So I like it. I like it. And this is fun. And see, I've been wearing both of these this whole time. I feel like it. I mean, Stella did a great job curating this, so it's a fantastic collection. But I feel like this is a good grouping that you can do in a lot of different fun ways. So if you have not seen a try-on of one of my bracelet trios, we usually do that in our recaps. And I will be doing this one in our next recap. So it'll be the last recap in July is when this one is going to have its try on. So you can see the different ways that I wear it. So as you saw, you can wear all of the bracelets individually. You can wear them in a variety of duos. You can wear these two together like I'm doing right now, which I actually really like. Or you can wear them, you know, just one alongside this middle bracelet. You can wear one with the middle bracelet, clasp them together and make a choker, or you can clasp all three together and make a longer length asymmetrical necklace, because it'll have this as the middle focal, but you'll have the red going up one side and the blue up the other. So there's a lot of different ways that you can wear this, and because they play so well together, you have that versatility. You know, you can do all kinds of fun things with it. So watch for that try on if you want to see what it looks like on. That's a thing that Becky and I do at the end of our week, because we do a what we made this week recap. So I think that you'll enjoy that if you haven't seen one yet. Anything that we make on this channel, we do that way. We also, if we made something offline, sometimes we'll show that too, because whether we made a tutorial for it or not, or followed someone else's tutorial, it's still something we made, and so we're showing you what we made. We just won't have a link to a tutorial, either because there isn't one, or we'll provide a link to wherever we followed the tutorial, someone else's design. So just a little bit of how we do that. Oh, I might not have opened that enough. Come on, just a little bit more. This. There you go, my friend. There you go. It can be tricky working with magnetic clasps, but they are my favorite kind of clasp. I think everybody has a favorite kind of clasp they like to work with. Becky loves a lobster. I love a magnetic clasp or a toggle. Those are the ones that I like to use best. And for the bracelet trio, I just find that the magnetic clasp just works better all around for appearing part of the thing. If you have the right kind of toggle clasp, that can also work, but it's a little bit more fiddly to get 3 toggles all working together on the same piece. It can be a little bit tricky. So. All right, so this is my middle bracelet. I'm gonna get it on, and actually, like, you can see how it looks as a bracelet trio here during this video. We don't actually try on bracelets that often on our weekly try-ons because we have a tendency to do exactly what you see me doing now, and that is attaching it. So I've got this stack of magnetic clasps, and I've got my bracelet trio. Ah, how fun is this? How fun is this? I'm going to take it off and pile them all together on my mat so that you can see them, not on my wrist, and how they all stack and play pretty. I love that. I love that. Let's got a few things still on my mat, move them out of the way, zoom in, and set this where you can see all of that together. Ah, I really am happy with how this turned out. I'm glad that I didn't just hit go on my original plan and then not been happy with it. I'm really happy with how this turned out. And sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you need to think about a design for a few weeks, sometimes for me, even a couple of months before I'm really ready to, okay, yes, this is it. And I feel like this is it. So I'm really glad that you hung out with me while I made this bracelet trio from Didi's Deluxe Bead Box, July 2025 edition, Fiery Azure. And I may make something else from this box. I'm not 100% sure, but you want to make sure you check out Didi's Deluxe Bead Box. I will have a link in the description. It is not a subscription. It is a monthly curated collection that are sold first come, first serve. They are released between 11 and noon Eastern time on the 12th of each month. So for the upcoming month. So in order to order the September box, you want to make sure that you are on Didi's website. Join her Facebook group. That is the best way to stay in the know of what's going on with Didi's beads. And but yeah, you want to make sure that you get on there and order. They do sell out quickly. She actually increased the quantity this last time, and it still sold out in just a few hours on that release day. So on the 12th of the month, in this case, August, you can order the next month's box, in this case, September's. That's also the day that that current month's contents will be revealed. I have my package, my August package is on its way to me right now, but I can't show it to you as soon as I see it. I am going to wait until the 12th of August after the official reveal has happened on the website to in order to show you what I got. But I will be doing that. There will be another unboxing organization of the August box on August 12th after the official reveal. Again, I'm going to put all the pertinent links below, including the one to my unboxing and organizing of this collection. I hope you enjoyed this. I would love it if you would subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed. We love our friends who've been with us for a long time, but we also love meeting and making new friends too. So subscribe, hit like, ring the bell so you know when we have new videos, and leave a comment. You know, participate in this lovely beadie community that we're all a part of. We love that. And as always, happy beading, and don't forget to play. Bye.